like Good.
Gracias.
Okay. Hello everyone again. You need to see me again. I'm sorry for that. It's the first talk after lunch, so I hope you can get sleep. Today I want to talk about what we call the technical vision for VAST, or the VAST platform, previously dia1, smalltalk, and before that Visual Age was what we can see some customers calling it Visual Age. So the agenda is that as part of discussing the technical vision for VAST, we will first start with explaining our general approach and philosophy that we use internally to evaluate which features and which changes we make to the product. We will then talk about the technical foundational areas of VAST and how they are a frame of reference that can help us define the features and changes that we have been doing for the last decades in the product and what we're going to do next. We'll provide some examples of these, what we call foundational features. And finally, I will show how this technical vision that we have help craft not only the next release of VAST, but also the future releases and more long-term vision. That's more or less what I would like to present. So, to start, one general approach and philosophy that I described before drives our decisions. What is what drives our decisions at this integration? So, in short, at this integration, we try to provide some support and development that balance innovation with testability, sustainability, and user experience, while minimizing risk to both the software itself and the team supporting that software. And this is what we have been actually doing since the beginning of this transition. It's just that we never had the time to actually talk about this. And this general approach that we do at presentations as a whole, obviously, VAST is not an exception, so we follow these principles, these guidelines. So, again, keeping in mind that we try to do a balanced approach on how we create new features and how we continue to progress the product of VAST platform, the question that first we have to answer is, what are the key technical foundational areas of the product that we focused when we develop these new features or new changes? So with that, I will give a quick list of these foundational areas or areas of focus that I was talking about. So the first one is to have a very fast and solid multi-platform language runtime. We will see examples of this later, but this is very important because VAST is used at the very bottom of the user stack or customer stack. They build on top of VAST, so VAST needs to be rock solid and fast. This is at the bottom of the stack. We want to focus on supporting multiple architectures, so we would like to have native thick client applications, as well as web and hybrid applications, as I will give an example later. The other foundational area is about packaging your application and how you deploy that, and ideally it should be some kind of cloud friendly these days, so we are focusing on that area as well. we need a really rich set of code libraries. So as you know, Smalltalk is not just the language. It's the base language. You have all the tooling, the IDE, there are a lot of libraries in Smalltalk, for example. And we want to be really solid when it comes to communication and networking. This is something that has been becoming more and more important over the years, and in our opinion, it will continue to be like this. Databases is still critical for customers. Everybody needs some kind of consistency. Security, this is one of the top priorities at this point, at BUST. And again, a little bit of don't lose focus on one of the things that make Smalltalk great, which is a nice, productive development experience, right? So those were the main areas where we like to focus when we develop the BUST platform. So what I would like to show now is what we did in the past, I would say the last 10 years, the last 15 years, that aligned to these foundational areas. Because at the end of the day, what I want to show is that we don't do things randomly. It's not that we woke up and say, oh, okay, today I want to implement this. No, we have a vision. So, for those that haven't been following what we did in BUST for the last decade, I think it's a nice summary of what we did, and then we will see what we're doing next. But now we'll start with the past. So I will try to go quickly on each foundational area that I talked before. So the first one in the language runtime, one of the most important things we did is we completely rewrote the past virtual machine. So we stopped using IBM machine. We were using modern technologies and standards. It's actually built on top of the latest UNMdP, and it's designed for portability, as I will show in the next bullet point. For example, we added 64-bit support. This was a couple of years ago, which was possible because of the new virtual machine. And the same goes, for example, for processor. This is newer. This is maybe 2 years or 3 years ago. We added ARM native support for Windows and Linux. We make F5 much faster. We did a lot of performance improvements using CMD instructions, which is kind of a set of CPU instructions to multi-process in the same instruction. You can process multiple sets of data. That's more or less what it is. I'm not an expert in virtual machine, but that's what I understand. And also we improve the we can handle now Smalltalk images of gigabytes of size, which was not possible before. So now we have some customers with really huge image files. And finally, the last thing we need to do in this language runtime kind of area is to always keep up to date with all the latest Windows and Linux releases. That's not always easy, so we always need to do that. Now, regarding the multi-architecture foundational area, first starting with the, let's say, the most classic one is the native, the thick client native application. So we've been doing a lot of things for this area. We added full high DPI support. So now the font scales very nicely. You can even have multi-monitor with different DPA scaling factors. We have direct write support for fonts and some new native widgets. So for example, for Windows, we added the new channel widget, things like that. So we have some set of new native widgets. So that's more or less in the native client area. On the website, we are always upgrading to the latest C side, so we try to be current in C side and WIS. And we added Unicode support to C side for VAST. So now in the latest version of VAST, C side can be Unicode ready. You can render Unicode, you can input Unicode. So we did that. And finally, regarding the hybrid approach, the most significant thing we did is to give support to dia2. For those that don't know, this is a feature from Microsoft that is coupled with the Edge browser, and this gives you an ability to embed the Edge browser inside a Windows native application. So using this technology, some of our customers are building what is called hybrid applications, where they kind of do parts natively and parts web, and they compose in the same native application. Okay, the next national area is about packaging and deployment and cloud. Here, one of the things we did, it was last year, we improved the packaging the performance of the packager. Mostly if you have a big image, if you need to package a large vast runtime, it's significantly faster now. We added a little tool, it's called automatic build system, which allows you to make the packagement of your runtime image in a non-interactive way, so you can script it so that making final runtime, the ICX, which is the small image for the end user, make that easier from a script. And then we try to be, we have a lot of customers using containers like Docker, Kubernetes, so we try to be friendly for this kind of cloud deployment. By friendly, I mean that, for example, we have a very small runtime. The size of the virtual machine binaries is quite small. Images, since we use the packager that reduces the final image, it gets very small. So there are a couple of, so we have also minimal dependencies. So for example, on Linux, we almost depend on libc, and that's it. We have minimal dependencies on the virtual machine as well. We support multiple Linux flavors, so it makes it easy to deploy Docker, and we have multiple customers already doing so. Regarding the core libraries, here we did quite a little bit. Over the last years, we added Unicode support. This is one of the most important features we did. We created a nice Unicode, we call it Unicode support library. It's kind of the low-level library that then gives support so that we can integrate Unicode at the different layers. But this is kind of the low-level library that has Unicode, Street, Graphene, Unicode, Scala, etc., etc. We added asynchronous programming features, so we added support for futures, promises, streams, so we got this idea from that. And again, we have customers already using this extensively to improve performance. We did a new framework for OS process forking, so you need to fork OS processes from VAST. It's a very nice cross-platform tool that we did. We added a lot of compression libraries like LC4, broadly, C standards, C, etc. We added branch support, much better configurable error handling. We improved the stack clustering. We have VAST has this, I love it. You can serialize the stack when there's an exception, and then you can debug it later in another image. So we can improve that. We can also remote debugging, which is similar, but it goes to be a TCP between the runtime image and the development image, so you can even change code and resume. So that's pretty awesome. So we keep improving that. We added time zone support for our data time interfaces. We added logging framework. and some more. This is just the latest development that we've been doing in the core library. Going to the communications and networking, this, as I said, together with security, I would say is one of the most important areas. It has been changing every year. So a couple of years ago, I would say 10 years ago, we added IPv6 support. That was a major effort. We added a lot of text serializer, JSON, CSV, Stone. We even added Unicode support to Stone, which is the smalltalk JSON serializer. We improved the HTML parser. We added support for LDAP and circuit LDAP-S. IMAP, we had IMAP as MTP. We improved a lot the HTTP client because a lot of people are using the HTTP client to call REST APIs or whatever, so the HTTP client is being used a lot these days, so we need to improve it. We added SSL and 64-bit support to MQ series. We added a new FTP, FTPS. We added MQTT, which is also a nice tool. We have customers already using MQTT. Regarding database, this is more like, let's say, less innovative. It's more like what our customers need to do. They need to persist data. But we cannot just look to another side and ignore it. We still need to continue improving this. So we expanded our list of relational databases. So we added support for Postgres recently, and soonish we are giving support to SQL Server. We keep improving Grok, which now over the years we have been making extensions and fixing bugs in Grok. Grok, so that belongs our object relational mapper. And finally, we added Unicode support also at all the database layers. We added at the driver level, at the Grok level. So as you can notice, not only we added Unicode support at in the low-level library, but we also integrated Unicode in a lot of different modules of us. Regarding security, as I said, this is one of the top priorities these days. And the most important single thing we did is that we have a complete object-oriented wrapper of OpenSSL. It's a very complete, very, as I said, object-oriented. It works very nicely done. And that enables everything I will just mention very quickly. That allows us to have SSL and TLS models in the different places in VAST, secure memory arenas, secure RNG. We have multiple choices for symmetric and asymmetric ciphers. Key derivation options, we have multiple method authentication options, we have planes as well. It's basically everything that OpenSSL supports, we can support it in VAST. Okay, we are getting to the end, so don't worry, we're getting there. So then, from the developer productivity and development tools, well, the biggest thing we did, maybe it was maybe 8-7 years ago, we did a state-of-the-art code assist. If you use other smalltalks and then you use VAST, you will notice that the code assist is very good, it's well done, it has a type analysis. It's got code completion, line refactoring, like renaming and things like that. There's some linter, so you can like underline when something is wrong, all those kind of things. We upgraded to use the latest scintilla editor on Windows. So now we used to be stuck in an old version, so now we're using the very latest version of scintilla editor even with GPU acceleration, which is nice. It's fast. And And then again, we continue improving Unicode integration at the different layers of the IDE. So we did it in workspaces now. Workspaces are fully Unicode aware. Inspectors, debuggers, we will continue. So it's integrating Unicode is an ongoing effort. That because there's a limited amount of modules that would benefit from being Unicode aware. And finally, we improved some browsers like CYG, the profiler, the HTML runner, and a couple of typical browsers that we have been improving over the recent years. And finally, we added support for Tunnel, which is kind of a geek-friendly file format. Probably you are aware of this. So, what did I tell you all about it? Why I spent 20 minutes of this? And I think that, in summary, all of these features and foundational areas that I have been mentioned, they are not randomly selected. This is what I was saying earlier. We are not randomly selecting features. We are not randomly selecting changes. We have a vision that shapes what we did in the past and, as you will see now, what we are going to do next. So, let's see what we are going to do now. So, what we are doing for this release. So, we will do just one very quick slide about what we are going to do in the next release that will be released in a couple of months, in Q1 of 2025. Sorry. So, first is that we have some glitch machine improvements. Always there's some glitch machine improvements. We migrated to the latest LLVM 19, I think it was. We improved the weak queue size and how we resize the weak queue. A lot of Unicode library enhancements involving the hash of Unicode stream and the stream. We also updated to the latest Unicode version, so now we support version 16 of Unicode. We finished the integration of Unicode to C-side, as I mentioned earlier. Better Unicode support in the development tools, as in the inspector, debuggers, workspaces are now all in the upcoming release. Unicode support for XML, we are still trying to do this one for this release. We might not get it in time, but still trying. Multi-monitor and ADP improvement, this one is done. We now opens Windows with the correct monitor, even if you have multiple monitor, even with different scanning factors, it will work fine. We updated to the very latest OpenSSL, which is critical, so it's nice to update to the latest. And as I said, we are trying to add support for SQL Server, as we have some customers that they were already using through ODBC, but we try to make sure that everything works as expected. Table routine integration, Google Builder Pro is again for the 3 client users. And finally, we continue an ongoing effort that takes years, but is the GTK support at the beginning for Linux. So we started doing this, and we continue doing this. So even if it won't be ready on this release, I just wanted to mention that we're still working on that. Okay, and that was what was coming in this release, but the technical vision, or what I wanted to try to explain in this talk, is that this shapes not only what we have been doing, but also what we are planning to do. So, this is not a set in stone list, but this that I mentioned now are some of the things that we are planning to do in the upcoming releases. So one thing that we are wanted we want to really invest in seaside. There's some investment that we have in mind. Now with Johan starting working with us next year, we'll probably improve seaside even further. One of the things we wanted to explore, and that Johan mentioned this at the beginning of his talk, is we have some customers wanting to do stateless seaside. So we would like to try to see if we can accommodate seaside so that if we have customers wanting to do a stateless seaside, there's a way, an easier way to do it. So we will be working on that. Swagger and Open API support a little bit REST. GTK continues, as I mentioned, more Windows and active widgets. Continue improving if there are problems, more problems with API and multi-monitor support, we want to fix them all. More uniform integrations, for example, we're still missing HTML, we are missing web services, for example, so there's still a few areas there where we need to add Windows support. OAuth 2 and OpenID, this is very important, it has been asked multiple times at this point, so we will try to implement something. The same goes for WebSockets, and ideally support for non-blocking sockets. So those are kind of some of the networking pending topics. We also want to build a software vulnerability scanner. Again, security is one of the top priorities, and we would like to at least understand what it would be to implement a security vulnerability scanner for BAST, for both our internal code as well as customer code, so that they could run their code and look for potential security vulnerabilities. We are thinking things like signing and encrypting the smalltalk images, the ICX, or even ICs. Maybe in a new deployment unit, we're just brainstorming this idea right now. More secure and performant envy. You will see a talk from Seth about that. And finally, the virtual machine is always on all the time. There are improvements on the virtual machine. There are plenty of things that we can do. I would like to have a headless packaging. Right now, the packager still needs some kind of headful image. Even if you can script it, you still need a headful image. So we want to be completely headless and be CI friendly. And finally, some AI investment and explorations that we are doing. We have already started to heavily invest on AI. We are actually starting the first project this week or this month. We have a couple of approaches. What I can say is that our ideas for AI is basically help with what we call developer education, improving customer satisfaction, and assist, and this is very important, assist with system currency. So we want to assist our customers to be up to date with us and their system. They don't want to leave them behind because the people is not there anymore. So we're trying to see how AI can help. I don't want to say legacy systems because some people think about that negatively. But we're trying to think how can improve all of those areas. There's a very exciting time for presentations, and the community as a whole, when it comes to AI, we will have a panel, I think it's Friday? Tomorrow? We'll have a panel to discuss smalltalk and AI. And that's it. That's what I have to mention. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah?
What is live debug? What is live recovery?
We have a few inline renames, for example, where you can, in the text editor, you can select a variable and rename it inline, and it will show and rename it in editor. On the editor itself. Okay. I think there are a few more like declare change bars, and there are a few like those.
Okay. Hello. You mentioned you have a feature that enabled live debugging of a runtime system.
Yes.
And you said that the method could be changed to the debugger, and then that actually saves to the IPX and the image, or does it not?
It's so that's a good question. The way it works is so you have a host for development image. You package your runtime image, and when you're packaging that runtime image, you need to tell an IP. Okay? So once this runtime headless image runs an exception, you can connect via TCP to the IP that you set.
To the development.
Yeah? To the development image, so you will get the debugger in the development image. And if you change the method, as far as I understand, it will compile the method, send it over the wire, and apply it on the runtime image. That way you can change and assume and it will work. As far as I understand, maybe it says no, but it doesn't save the image, as far as I understand. But
if I restart the runtime image?
Exactly. I think it's like that. I will need to do a check. But for sure, it kind of compiles and sends the bytecode over, replace it in the runtime image, and you can continue. But it only works for headless images, which I think is the case of in other.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Let's talk about online frameworks. Okay. This is the talk where I tell you about stuff that I've used during the years, mostly to encourage others to use them, and so that you know also what can be done with Moto. I think a lot of people know that Moto is really powerful and can do a lot of things, and I'm constantly trying to make sure that apply those ideas to my development projects. This is a summary of what I've been doing continuously and different tools. So we will talk about the different parts of how the application that I'm working on has been scaling. So it's an end user application. It started, or the first features that I talk about are some stuff that I mentioned before, but to make a summary for those who haven't seen or heard about it before. It's a local personal server, so the features are just for the user that's running the application. Then what happens when you have other clients, in this case web clients, inside the same local network. How that changes when there are features that are required outside the local network and why that's the case, and which frameworks I'm using. And finally, the most the newer part of the ones we will tell you about is what happens when you have a cloud server when you want the application to be usable by anyone anywhere. So you may have been previous months where I talked about Kera. This is an application that is to play role-playing games. Okay, so where there's a story and someone tells it, there are dice rolls involved normally, there are rules. So I already talked about maybe the idea, how I use Mojo to model the rules of the game, the user interface, and then the deployment to get it to the different users. And 2 years back, I also talked about how that even actually business, a really small side business, but it's my personal project and it's even getting an income. Okay, so let's review the features of the application. So for a local personal server, what we mean is that people may want to create their own characters for the game. So the application allows them to start the server and locally use that to create a character, then level it up, which is what I'm calling the character development. After some characters are created, someone can set an adventure, and there's the adventure management as through the features in Roman. Inventory management, we want to create treasures, travel, forage, for person, and put in the wide degree of attention to specific feature requirements when playing this type of adventures. So you know what I'm talking about, here's the demo. So this is you're seeing what I'm saying. So this is data, the idea is that it's a web application, but at this point it doesn't matter because the person that started the server is using the application. It doesn't just local cost, as you can see. I did this at some point because this enables me to make an application that is independent of the technology behind it. I mean, the web application. So with the web application, you always have a browser, you don't have to worry if you're working with Windows, Linux, whatever, or there are specific tools to design. This allows me to take that out of the equation. So users would normally at this point just download the application, run it, and as soon as it's finished running the initial start of the server, go to your page in the web browser. So what I mentioned is that you can create characters, these are steps, okay? And then you create all your character, or the character is different features. The features keep piling up during the year. It's adventuring module for someone to tell a story, you gather with your friends around the table, and someone would use a notebook to a laptop computer to use data, check the stuff, without having to consult on books, and this different things. Okay, so if someone wants to do check something, here, whatever the doctor goes, and get the success, stuff like that, and then you can go and check it out. So it's used to keep track of all that. As I've already mentioned, this is only in case of something before. So these are in the local personal server. Now, how I'm doing this is I'm using Fire, okay, to develop. I'm using also Void. I have a slide here in case this like I'm going to say a lot of things that are free. So Fire you may already know. I'm using Void, or you have the things that you can find here in the website smalltaks community. Okay, so open source projects. And then you have about that. For example, these are interesting stuff that we found useful on the Facultad. Then I'm using Kepler as of the packages in Buenos Aires model. I'm using for rules. Hernan mentioned that we already know that it's okay to have the application split into systems. In my case, it's rule books, so everything that is related to magic is a magic system, and everything related to a character is a character system, and it really works really nice. And I'm using Seaside to create a web views portal, which is another package that will add more features to Seaside. We know this is what we are using with our desktops. You can check online from previous year. That's how we do the Ajax interaction on top of Seaside, and in particular I'm using jQuery UI and semantic UI packages from Windows. And then I have Renmark SD, which Gabriel already gave some talks and he was talked about it, which generates the CSS for the application. So now in this case, you have, apart from the features on your local server, you need people to access information in the server. Is when the clients on your LAN feature comes up. If you're playing at the table and you need people to use their smartphones to check something about their characters, there are some parts of the system that are able to get information on your character. You can send private messages to a player and they get live status updates. Sound good? Yeah. This hero status module will allow you to, what this you would normally see in your smartphone is more tailored to small. You normally see it like that. Okay, the idea here is that the user can get and check information on their character while they are playing and also get live status updates. Okay. During the adventure, something were to happen to this character. You see updates here, but it also updates here. So the character, the player gets live updates on that. And also can send messages from the game master to the player. So to do this, I'm still using files, Seaside, Window, and Renmar. I just have to write more code on the code, but it's all in Smalltalk. I'm writing the jQuery stuff in Smalltalk and the CSS stuff in Smalltalk. But now I have multiple browser connections, so I have to design the CSS and some of the features to take that into consideration. The other thing that I want to promote in this talk is server-sent events. I don't know, has anyone worked with server-sent events already? No? Not so fast? No? Okay, well, server-sent events are a very nice solution. It's not something that I did, it's something that is supported in Seaside for Faro at least. I checked it. I don't know in Rust if it's working or not. Because it depends on the HTTP server. Okay, so I know Sync has it because I have it working. It's very little amount of code that I have to write to use it. The idea in servers and events is that the server will let any client know if there are updates without constant calling. Okay, so what I used to have, what you just saw that the application changed here. I wasn't changing tabs, not to take more of your time, but this update on at the same moment that I click because the server sent this information to all the active connections, and I can do that as small as I want. I could say just, okay, this is the new information, and the socket connection, the string will already have the new numbers, so that you just know not only that something happened, but what exactly I have to change in the client. Or I could just tell the client, okay, there are heavy updates, ask me for a refresh. But I'm not constantly calling, I'm just leaving a socket open. So this is like another solution when you have multiple connections, like in a situation where you have to connect to multiple clients without going the full, let's say, two-phase way of using WebSockets, okay? Because it's not that I'm constantly wanting, I don't want to constantly have everyone connecting to everyone, okay? So the players don't need to connect to other players at this point, so it's fine. This is part of us. Part is not.
No.
Part is not maintenance.
Well, we know this happens a lot.
Okay, so let's keep that. If someone that wants to check that out, let me know. So then what happened was the pandemic. I don't know if anyone heard about that. Then I couldn't get the people to play at the same table. I told you about this for present 2 years ago. ERA, this application, missed a big opportunity because it was not prepared for people to play from outside our network. It assumed that someone had a laptop with the local server, the main application, and then people would connect from smartphones. That was not the case in the pandemic. Everyone was in their homes, and a lot of people started playing like this. Okay, I'm at home, preparing, telling about the adventure, and the rest of the people are each on their desktop computer. They don't want a small application for their smartphones, but I need to somehow give them the experience of being at the table. Okay, so here's where the idea of the game table comes up. The idea of having another module where you can also roll your dice inside the same application. This is getting, I think, better, but it's working fine. So the idea here is that the same player would go or connect from their home, okay, and would know what's going on with their character. So it's similar to what happens with the mobile connection. So I want to have the experience of everyone at the table. Wait for a second. Disregard for these screens. So I'm not promising the CSS but the idea here is that you can roll your dice, okay? So one person will be rolling their dice from their home and the other will see, and the same goes the other way, okay? So you know what's happening to the group. The idea is to recreate the experience of being everybody at the same table, and I'm doing this again with the servers and events. So you register for the other events that the other people are creating. Okay? And you also have a lot of information. You can see all your skills and stuff like that. You can roll from here a specific skill. That's more like a feature thing, okay? Not more technology. But I have to write more code. And also, something that happens at least involved playing adventures is that the game master, the one selling the adventure, will sometimes roll dice without telling the people why they're rolling dice, just to create tension. So you are playing and okay, your characters are walking, and you see the game master rolling their dice and not showing you what's happening, and maybe just laughing behind the screen. So the idea here was that every time the game master here would use the random rolling feature, the character will see mystery dice roll. So the idea here is that you are at your home, getting a part of that experience back of being at the table. Okay? And also the status of your party member updates as well. So if someone is damaged, you see. So how to do this more fun, more precise, more real, more relevant, because you have to keep writing a lot of stuff. And now I have multiple desktop browser connections and the servers and events from multiple sources, because anyone can roll their dice and I need that information to go to the other ones. Luckily, in terms of code, nothing. Okay? A nice feature of always is the same. So now going to the cloud server. The idea here was that some people might be losing on the chance to use the application because they tell me, I don't have a computer. This one's on Linux, Mac, or Windows. But some people, since they just have their cell phones, but they still want to play, or maybe they have a computer, but they don't know where to run it, or don't know how to open a port to open it to the other people. Once you have clients outside your local network, you need a little bit of technical knowledge to prepare that. So the idea here is let's give it the public URL so that they can play anywhere from it at any time. Now this means that I need to handle the idea of gaming groups because different people will be playing at the same time, but they will belong to different groups. But it has to be, in principle, the same smalltalk running, and you don't want to mix that. It's similar to what you have if you have a cloud application for multiple clients. You have several users from different companies and you want the same application to be running just once. I mean, you can do, I know, a mirror or stuff like that. Mostly you want one application. So you need user authentication, which in my case is just a mail and a password, and user authorization because you would be just a player or the game master, so the features you have access to would change. Here, so you see how it works. Here. Okay. This is sorry, part of your head. Most of the users, I think all of the users already knew data before going to use the web, the cloud version. So for them, the only difference is, okay, now I have to log in before starting playing, and then you get just a log button, basically. The application is all the same. But every time you enter one of these, it checks that you have authorization to use. If I were a player, I couldn't use, or I could access the module where I have able to see all the players, for instance. Okay, but every player gets the chance to create an account. Okay. Okay, so now about the technology used to do this. Up to this point, everything I told you is free, and you can use it, and it's open source, even if it's not. Now comes the part where I couldn't find a way to host a nice multiple image in a reliable way without paying something. So I'm using DigitalOcean. I'm not saying it's the only way, just the way it's what we're using at Mercado, so it was easier for me to just use the technology. One droplet is costing $6 a month, which coming from absolutely free is infinitely more, but still not that much money if you have paying customers. Once you have paying customers, $6 a month is not that much, and you can focus this case. This is just for a 1 GB memory computer with a 10 GB disk. But it gives me the SSH access, which allows me to just use it like any other Linux computer where I would run the server. So to me, it's a really nice experience to use. And then I have to have a domain so people can connect to something that looks kind of professional. And our domains are 500 pesos a year. That's what to but it's a little complex from another good, but I promise you that the rest of the features are all free. So there's also static IIO. This allows me to have resource cache because I don't want the users to be constantly asking seaside for files. So I use Renoir to declare how the CSS files work. For example, I generate them as static files, and then using them in static IIO, you use this JI, your user repo tag file. It has support for GitHub and GitLab. So whatever you put on a GitHub or GitLab repo, you can use basically it's a CDN for free. Okay, that's been really good because I don't have to worry about that part. All the CDNs tend to be an extra cost. Also, I wanted to have a certificate, so to get the SSL layer right, I'm using HNS for the reverse proxy with I'm using the cert that work with the SN3 and gives you the certificates that you need to have what you expect from an experience of logging, having an HTTPS connection, because otherwise I bet that users might not be so trusting of the application. I mean, just a game application, it's small zone, but I might users question my motives and stuff like that. I guess this helps with giving a sense of security. So also I didn't want to implement user management. That was an idea. My goal is to implement gaming features. So having a user management component was not appealing to me. So Auth0 is fine for user management. It has a free save every year. It allows me to have a multi-tenant configuration where I can check the features in like a development environment and the staging environment and the production environment, and it's all part of our in the free tier. Allows me to configure user roles, which allows me to use the game master and player differences. You can use custom attributes and a custom login screen as you've seen, and it's all part of the free tier. So I think this gives a small application a nice integration with current frameworks. And it's working really fine. Also on the smalltalk side, I have to use Auth0, which is another open source packages that you can get, where there's information known by the CSI session, okay, and I can do a strategy of local or Auth0 to prevent I didn't want existing users of the local version to feel like they get worse performance, or there's a bug still in the online part. I wouldn't want it to deal with that, so there's a strategy that knows if you're using one or the other. The same application that I'm deploying to the users I'm installing in DigitalOcean. It's exactly the same, just the standard parameters are different. So complementing with the initial request in CSI, you can do that. Determine rendering decisions where if there's gonna be a user, you can log it, you can render it on the top right of the shoulder with the global button. It's not shown in the local version. There's also ways to use hook from there. It's part of CSI, but it complements nicely with the Auth0. And also using speed, it's simple, but it's just the logging wheel that you see in some parts of the application, because it reduces user anxiety to know. It may even take longer because you have to go and render it and then stop rendering it, but the user says, okay, it's working. And wheel speed has a different loading results. And also, a nice feature to know if you are developing a web application is the network plotting option. If you already know it's maybe obvious, but for those who've never seen it, the browser allows you to simulate download and upload delay to your request, so you can check what happens if there's the slow 3G connection that comes by default. It's often enough to see what will happen in a high latency environment. And there's also the nice offline option, because you want to check what happens if the user loses their connection. So this is a tool is in probably every browser by now, and please know that it's there and use it. So this sort of so we did the different frameworks that I'm telling about. I'm not saying that to you, I'm just commenting that I found them useful. So you can check them. The two on green are valid, so you might want to consider looking for alternative before that. And if you find them, please let me know. That's my conclusion for now. I don't know.
You mentioned that you're using server-sent events. Are you serving them over HTTP2 or just because there's no limitation in server-side event, the clients, like the browsers, have a limited, if you're over HTTP1, I think it's per browser limitation, I don't know if it's like 10 connection or something like stupidly low, that the browser Chromium refuses to basically to raise because they want everyone to use HTTP2. So my question is, are you serving them using HTTP2 at the sync level or maybe at the Nginx level?
Nginx is, I don't remember at this point exactly what, I had to do something in Nginx to make them go through, but I think it's version 2, from what I remember from when I was researching that part.
I was just asking because maybe you reached the limit, because the connection limit was,
I never seen
10 connections.
I never seen the connection limit. I tried with like 4, 5 people in parallel is working fine. That's the most I've checked. But yeah, I seem to remember that somewhere I read that there might be a limitation if I weren't using what I'm using, but I never see it.
Did you explore any other options when you chose the server-side option when you started developing the multiplayer online feature? I mean, or maybe if you are planning a feature about sharing things between players.
Before having the volume, the roles for the players, I was just using like normal JavaScript refresh function. Okay, so every 10 seconds it would refresh, and most of the time that was useless because there were no news. There was some news, and you wanted them fast, but maybe for 1 hour there was nothing to check. So it's a lot of traffic. So that's when I found out about. I started researching what alternatives there were to this. I found out about server-side events, and I'm trying to see how to implement them. I found where in Fido I would need to put a hook, and when I found it seemed curious that I found such a perfect place, and I checked for senders, and I realized that Fido already had this in sync. And I started using it to work almost instantly. I know that WebSockets might give me a better performance in high scale scenario with many users and stuff like that. But from what I've read, it's also really harder to make work in cloud situations. Now, this is just one section extra in Nginx, 2 classes with 4 methods and 5 for and scale pretty well. Si vas a poner faro, déjalo ya magnetizado, bueno. Sí, es que hay un punto exacto que va, no es al fondo de todo. Ahí, déjalo bien.
Hello. Hello everyone. Hey, my name is Yishe Amaral, and I'm going to share with you the progress in this project called Website, which is an open source project. I work for Quorum, and this is sort of landing page. So if you want to visit it, you will find links. You will find links. So, but before getting to the topic of this talk, for those of you who haven't seen our website before, I'm going to give you an introduction. Okay. Thank you. Okay, essentially, website is an API, a web API, if you will, a quote-unquote REST API that allows to communicate to a smaller system and aims at standardizing the way you can interact with a smaller system. So the main and first application that appeared after or while we developed this API was a full IE. So provided the target small system implements this API, you can use this IE for interactive. And this IE is developed not in Smalltalk, it's developed in JavaScript, using React. But as I said, it's just one application. This enables an open store for other different applications like communication system, different Smalltalks. I'm going to show that. I had previously a fun experiment related to dialects. Or even now that we are in the middle of this AI boom, to try to put some sort of agent to talk to the Smalltalk system. So, in our experience, this approach has proven useful for two scenarios. First, even when there are other options out there, like Telefaro is one of them, but for remote debugging. And in the case you don't have Telefaro or you don't use Faro, you have this API again implemented in your Smalltalk. You can use it for debugging. The other case where we used it was for new runtime. There are people out there, people creating new runtimes. So this is the case of a Smalltalk, and new modular Smalltalk that Facultad started, and I guess on Friday is going to give a talk about it. So don't miss it. So. I'm not going into detail because I want to share this before finishing some other experiments that I did make on the AI field. But essentially, the API is well documented. Let me see if I can jump to here. The API is well documented. So all these endpoints that you see here. These are like areas where, or in which the endpoints are organized, like to retrieving code, to apply changes on the system, to issue evaluations, to retrieve and resolve objects. To create a debugger, create workspaces, run tests, apply, etc. So let me give you a short demo of this. Try to run this. Okay, so here is the, I have loaded locally the React application, and I have loaded here like 4 dialects, be Smalltalk, Dolphin, Egg, and Fara. Okay. It's really short. Okay. So now you see. Okay. So let me use the size. So as I was saying, I have here different targets. So I will enter in a couple of them. It's a really hard task to come up with a common ID for different dialects because this is, I think, a truth in the community. Everyone loves their own environment, and well, it's difficult. But essentially, the different basic tools, like for instance, our browser, refactoring browser, you can find any other any dialect is available here. Like for instance, I have a class browser again. I don't know. This is yes. So, let's say, I don't know, typical searches, implementers, senders, whatever. Let me go over here, go to another like egg, for instance. It's more or less the same. Configuration is by target, so whatever. The package is loaded in egg currently. Yes. So what else? Let's try something. Okay, debugger. This is PH multi target, and more or less the same. I mean, again, it's probably under discussion whether this is enough for the small talker in this case. Probably not, but yeah, essentially the work was to try to again come up with a common set of functions and options. So let me go back to the presentation if I can, and okay. So I haven't applied, but this area, the changes area, is essentially a couple of endpoints that allows to apply changes to the system, and it's based on the old idea of refactoring changes or refactoring browser. So there is only an endpoint, changes endpoint that allows to apply changes, and this relies on the fact that the target model has this framework implemented, like changes implemented. So this talk is about the how to extend this environment, this API, and in turn the ID. So extensions. There are many different extensions. I'll start by these changes, which is the ones that I was talking before. So let's go, for instance, to file, and you know there are like different refactorings and options available here, and these, for instance, are implemented by means of this kind of extension. So let's take, for instance, turn right, and let's put something like. Okay. So I was saying that there are here some options that were implemented by means of these extensions. So, for instance, let's suppose that we want to, I guess there's a class in File which is, okay. So here I have one of the hierarchies implementing refactorings. So let's suppose that we choose some of these, I don't know, maybe this one. This option in File compiles two methods based on the variables of the class. So in order to bring this option, which is not available, this option, this refactoring applies on that class. So in order to make this appear through the API and bring it to the IDE, there is a method, a hook method, which is website extension on the class side. So let's take this example. Like this is a JSON object. Let's take this one, for instance, and copy and bring it here. And again, if you go to the documentation, this is pretty well documented. But essentially, this is an extension of type change because it refers to changes. And it applies an element. There are a bunch of elements where you can apply changes. And in this case, we wanted to apply it on a class. And let's put the name generate equal and hash here. And well, we don't need these. We only need the class name. The things that I put here in properties will reach the target whenever I hit the option on the front end. On the server will count in JSON, and the server will take them and instantiate, in this case, this class is generate equal hash, blah, blah, blah. So, so I have, it applies on a class. I have, this is a handy way to identify what type of change based on the name and class name, which is element name. Because this expression between curly brackets are not free JavaScript stuff, but it's a handy way to access to properties of the elements. So the framework doesn't allow us to put anything here, except for a couple properties, right? So let's compile this, and then let's go to the instance side, and I will take from the server class. This is the methods that are invocated when a class is, again, filled with the JSON coming from the client. So I will put here, I think this guy needs a variables. And yes, this guy has this method, dClass, that based on the class name searches the class system, and then instance where thanks. By the way, this auto completion and everything that is available on the client side relies on the API. So these the results of the auto completion are retrieved from the server, which well, depending on the latency, might be on, be deactivated, but so now we have, I think, everything in place. So if we go here, let's click here to refresh the different class. So now we have this option generate equal and hash. So let's create a new subclass lab. Here we have some slots here, like, you know, lab. And then on black, apply this refactoring. So again, this is just bringing to the front end, to the IDE, something that is completely dependent on the back end. This target, small, which is Faro, that has this richness, let's say, in terms of refactorings and changes. So this is, as an exercise, I essentially implemented almost, as you see, this was not the case, almost every refactoring that Faro offers, and in version 12, I guess. And some of them, for instance, let's see if we can grab one of these. Move to package, for instance. I'm not going to apply it, but this also offers the way to configure the parameters of the change. So, again, in this JSON specification, you can specify that the corresponding refactoring requires parameters, the type of the parameters, and in this case, how to fill the potential or the list of elements, the list of options for a given parameter. Like in this case, it is bringing all the packages and showing a list for the user to select. So again, the tricky part of PowerPoint. So well, there. Let's see. Okay. Let me show you another one. There are ways to, let me go, for instance, to here. This. This is a JSON implementation of JSON. Let's journey. Let's take from here to here, inspect it, and well, this guy has this way to show. I don't know. I'm inspecting not the one that I wanted. Let's put it yourself. So let's bring this option. So this is the way this object is printed here. This is like the print string of this JSON, neo-JSON object. So what we can do, this is another hook for extended. Sorry, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm really curious. In your API, specifying the label select parent instead of imposing the menu. Why don't you change the API to interrogate the dialog to ask you what it wants on the menu?
Not sure I get your question.
So right now, the menus you have in the browser in all of the tools are fixed and defined in the JavaScript.
Part of them, yes. Part of them, no. That's part of the extensibility that I'm talking about. So this option appears once this endpoint, there is an endpoint to retrieve the extension. So originally, the bunch of options were fixed. And so the first question is, how can we extend that dynamically, depending on your system? Because every small thing, I mean, this journey through many different dialects, my takeaway is that the concepts are more or less the same. The implementation varies in the options, and the tools sometimes might differ. Some, for instance, you have traits here, you don't have traits there, right? So how to increase the flexibility of the tool in order to make this possible. So what I was going to show is there is another hook which is a website. This prefix, this alt prefix is just for clarity purposes. I think it's website views, something like that. Yeah. So let's take one of them. Again, JSON specification that goes with the these API. I don't want this stuff. Just one. So here. So let's take this one. So there are a bunch of available view types that you can take advantage from, like for instance JSON. So I will put here like JSON as title. I will put JSON or whatever. I don't want to put anything variable here, and no columns. You know, I know because I've worked in defining this. So again, this is well documented, so there's no need to remember all this stuff. So let's say use and this presentation and temporary variables. Okay. So let's see now our object. If I click, demonstrate. I meant to say. Okay, but the point is that at that point we were expecting to see the JSON view of this thing. So going back to the presentation, and almost out of time. So again, there are many different ways to extend it, like beams. Exports are a way that we can define, for instance, piloting a class or a method. Well, again, these are options that are exposed through the API and brought to the client ID in this case. Searches, there. I'm not sure if I have the time for that. So I was 2 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay. So I was doing and trying different funny tests using AI, and for instance, generating tests from code, the other way around, generating code from tests means that the code generating code that passes a given test suite. So, well, I'm not going to have the time, but in terms of, this is something that I wrote yesterday about to start a discussion about how these tools. Sadly I don't have time to show you the experiments live, probably tomorrow. But the point is, this is an opinion. I don't have strong arguments about if we should go after use, or I would say yes. I think we should go after some way of incorporating AI into small environments. Even when, again, probably this is a boom and this is just a tendency, sorry. But in my experience in this test, I ran a couple of benchmarks. It's better than nothing. It's like, it's better than starting from the blank page. Sometimes they, even when they might produce nonsense results. Let me see if I can stop talking and go to R, for instance. So let's do this. Let's create a class. Let's create. Let's search for test case and create a, whatever, and then Oh, I'm sorry, I should put test, not that test. And then create, right, more errors. Okay, let's take this. And let's write something like, I don't know, so one name, then AAA, so new AAA, then so search AAA name, let's say AAA name, hey, equals A, and then compile this plus this variable, this one stuff. Let's write a new as this is a person, so age, then I don't know, age, and age equals. This is really stupid. I know. Wrong. Yeah. There you go. And then say something. Say something. So AA say something. Oh. Repeat. And then something like repeat blah equals blah. So okay, so following the approach, we can run these and compile it here in the debugger, etc., etc., etc. But let's run these funny things. Let's see what model I'm using. There is this code assistant. In this case, this is a free service called Rock. With this model and some parameters, and let's generate that. So here it has proposed code for, let's say, making this test pass. So let's copy that. Let's bring that. For the moment, it's not automatic. So let's create a new class. New class, yeah, AAA. And then what's that? Okay. Disappear. And let's bring this stuff. So, just a second. Yes. Oh, temporary no. Just one instance variable, and then for this. You see the code looks like healthy. Even when this is a stupid test, we can make the test more complex. And then go back here and first run is is AAA. Well, I won't even myself. AAA. Yeah. That's all. So if we run the test, well, the code already looks healthy. So yeah, we can. I don't figure out how to run. Okay. So yes, I can. Well, this is the future work, but since I'm out of time, if you have any question, thank you very much.
Hi. Did you kind of take a look at using this for ID for gemstone?
That is the next step, yes.
Okay. Alright. What's the full ID?
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Right?
Sí, había probado. Sí, sí, no sé si lo he visto tanto en modo. Quiere más goya, pero para poder así a alta, te vas a otro lado y allá se además se notó que hay la mayoría de estas cosas son más que nada sí, sí, lo que pasa es que la regalo.
Pero sí que un poco. Ella me dijo. Sí, ella ella. Siempre haciendo propaganda. Sí. Hasta la bolsita de la casa. La tajita. Creo que la vieja de la frente. Está bien, entonces se lo busco.
Ahí entramos a la gente. Ahí entramos a la gente. El horario. Así no corrías. A vos. Y después corto. No, hoy no.
Vamos a ver si
Mis hijos, mi hija.
Hello, I am UNMdP, and I will talk. Okay. Hello, I'm UNMdP, and I will talk again about this smalltalk. First, I want to start by thanking you for being here today. I want to thank FAST, Universidad Nacional de Mar del Plata, and the public universities in Argentina that host us every year for this conference. The Argentinian public university system is under attack from the Argentinian government, and it is important to raise our voice on every opportunity to defend them. High quality universities, open and free for all, are one of the pillars for making Argentina a world-class creator of science and technology. It is a duty of the Argentinian government to continue providing the funds to keep them strong. I want to thank you, Hernan, and other university teachers who is for teaching class and spreading the word. Thank you, Maximo, for starting this movement that today means that Argentina is a world-class smalltalk hub. Thanks, Hilaire, for Portfolio and for this book. Thanks to the quiz community for many contributions, useful feedback, and a lot of fun on the main list and our monthly meetings. Thank you, Laguerre, for sponsoring this project.
open source Smalltalk system is a direct descendant of smalltaks script. It is portable and runs on the open Smalltalk virtual machine. Most likely you all already know this. As surprising here, so what else can we say about quiz? The purpose of the quiz project is to provide computer support for the creative spirit in everyone. Does that sound familiar? Yes. Yeah, those are almost the opening words of design principles behind Smalltalk by Dynamics. So the goals and attitudes of the Smalltalk project at Facultad still inspire our work every day. Computers are insanely more powerful than they were when Smalltalk was originally built. They are way more powerful than ever envisioned for the time of vision. And computer platforms and systems are always getting bigger and more complex. The downside of all this is giving up our ability to completely understand what's going on. Sometimes it takes a lot of work to make something simpler, and that's our quest. Every Smalltalk system, both commercial and open source, has evolved following the priorities set by its users and developers. In this landscape, Quiz has a distinct set of priorities, and we have been following them ever since the project got started. A long time ago, while using Squid for several projects, I realized that there were several areas where I felt that Squid was in need of serious improvement. The Morphic framework made advanced UIs possible but difficult to code. Additionally, the transition in display technology from cathode ray tubes to flat panels made pixelation much more visible, creating the need for high-quality anti-aliasing. Also, the approach that was taken to support Unicode in Squid put too much burden on developers. Finally, the class library had evolved without a careful design and became bloated and confusing. Fixing these issues was the driving force behind Quiz, and all this was essentially completed by the end of 2022. During this time, several projects have been based on Quiz, and as a result, many interesting and high-quality code packages have been written for and or contributed by its user community. So the list on the slide shows a small fraction of them. But if you come to Quiz from a non-Smalltalk background, or you are used to one of the commercial Smalltalk systems, you would expect some things to be really easy. Building commercial interfaces based on text fields, lists, and buttons must be easy as in most other developer environments. The same goes for building distributable applications for various platforms. But today, in Quiz, you need to build the Quiz image for your application yourself. This is an involved process, it's not trivial, and still you don't get full control of what gets included in the image. And then you have to still package the image with a suitable VM and other supporting files in order to distribute your application to your users or deploy to a web server infrastructure. At this point in the Quiz project, we are focusing on this different set of problems. We have already started working on the tools and framework needed for building user applications. So let me tell you about that. At the general system level, in these last couple of years, we have been improving the Quiz release process. Now we do stable launches or releases of the system every 6 months, following a release process inspired by Red Hat Linux, that is completely specified and predictable. Quiz is now distributed with a better folder structure, separate system folders and files from the developer folders and files, making it more comfortable to work on the files that already work. It also includes pre-made VMs and standard scripts. This makes for a much easier setup of Quiz on your machine, and it also gives you a useful model for the file and folder structure for your application. We have improved the code recovery tools used in case of a crash, making it convenient to review and reload your code. Based on feedback by the user community, we have been improving usability of various small tools. And we are also working all the time on the system documentation, trying to make it good both for experienced smalltalkers and for people new to small. This is an ongoing process. The Smalltalk kernel in Quisk has also been enhanced with some new features. For instance, Bootstrap and precompiled libraries are essential for building distributable applications. Callbacks from libraries called dia1 are absolutely needed in many cases. Thank you, Eliana, for helping us with this. Something else when a debugger opens, this is involved. When a debugger opens, the debugging process gets suspended, and from that moment on, it's controlled by the debugger. Okay? It's no longer allowed to run freely. And when the user finishes using a debugger and is proceed, the suspended process gets resumed. But when the debugger is open on a UI process, we need to schedule a new separate UI process to keep the UI alive and responsive. This new process is terminated when the user proceeds the original one, but is kept if the user abandons the debugger. And Quisk has an additional problem here, as the Morphic-free framework uses additional data structures that would get corrupted if they are never shared between these processes. It even gets worse. These data structures change in size if the user resizes the display when the debugger is open. And if they proceed, the old data structures held by the suspended process are no longer valid, and there is a serious risk of a system crash. So it took some significant amount of work to get all this working smoothly, without wasting memory by simply replicating everything all the time. And this was done this year, 2024. We also added support for process-specific variables, called as from Squid, and an optional property table of every option, also from Squid. And by taking advantage of OpenSmalltalk's tool, wide immediate character support, we unified the previous two separate character classes, simplifying code and improving performance. There have been, at the UI and tools, there have been several enhancements to the UNMdP framework, focusing on supporting end-user applications. Modal dialogues. What do you mean by modal dialogue? Assume that some regular code that is running in the UI process needs some input from the user in order to continue execution. It may be something as simple as prompting the user for their route for initials or asking them to enter a class name file. At that moment, the UI process cannot continue because it is waiting for the user input. But we still need to keep the UI alive. So, before a month ago, we used the same technique as Quisk, running a separate UI morphic cycle inside the modal morph while we wait for the answer. This is not good. It duplicates code, it breaks encapsulation and instruction. But the work done on debugger that I described in the previous slide is a better solution. Use the morphic process scheduling machinery in the same way as the debugger does. This means simpler and more robust code and really alive UI, including static bonds like the cloth, for instance, by using a menu, something that wasn't working properly before. And this was also done very recently. So now making modal dialogues is much more convenient for the application developer. There have been improvements in morphic layouts, adding parameter that is an additional column in order to insert widgets inside a layout, and that is the separation between widgets. These were modeled after CSS, so they will be familiar to many. And finally, we have included a completely new way to specify menus and keyboard shortcuts. It's now much easier for programmers to specify them, but it's also more flexible, allowing additional package code, for instance, to modify existing menus without the need to completely modify them. That would be a lot of code. Going back to our plans for the future and the needs of developers building natural language applications, these are some of the missing parts. We will be working on an interactive tool for building user interfaces by using widgets. This is nothing revolutionary. Every other development tool have had this for decades. In the Swift world, it was not yet there. We will also do a quality assessment on existing packages, so it's easier for developers to know how reliable they are before adopting them. And we will be building a small and nice runtime for applications based on a minimal runtime image that doesn't include development tools at all, and the dynamic loading of precompiled libraries. So all this machine learning that I presented last year in our previous conference, we will put it to good use, both for modularizing the base with system, but more important to make it convenient to build application-specific images, with the developer being able to control exactly what text is in the image. We will also be working on a tool to generate a folder and file structures for standard applications, both from a client or server and interactive. And we intend to support various package managers to distribute user applications, such as APT for Debian, Ubuntu, for Shortcut, Ubuntu for the Mac, and Chocolate for Windows. So these are the main plans for the next year and maybe the next 2 years. Some other features we will be working on. We will have support for ephemerals. They have been supported by the VM for a long time, but we haven't increased. We will take advantage of immutability. We have an immutability package since a few years, but we will take advantage of it so either object tree that run at compile time will be immutable. That is a problem in many small systems that you create either as a method and then you modify the literal a small code so it no longer reflects what the compiling method says. That inconsistency is a source of bug and it's a trivial one. So using immutability for literal fixes that problem. We will support a new work that is still in development. It's still in development for doing non-blocking ready SFI codes. And we intend to migrate to the new system and concept. Both these tasks will be done in close cooperation with NFI, with the author of the VM support on the machinery and the design of this feature. So thank you very much. We will cover this, we're working on some plan enhancements to the graphics machine that haven't been included yet in the machine that is used by the system because we're building UNMdP, so it takes a bit of care and a bit of time to get that stable and reliable on the official releases. But we will do this in the next month, I hope. This includes dashed lines and the possibility, more important, the possibility of having multiple nested nodes that can build their support. Morph is a possibility to the arbitrary shape of any morph and just rectangles, but the current machinery in can only do that for a single level. If you have an arbitrary shape morph that builds support, a simorphic cannot do that again. There is only a single level of that buffer in the graphics machinery. We have a new design that is more powerful that paying a slight performance bump for those nodes can do multiple colors, and that is starting to be necessary for application. And I would also like to get back to work on right to left text for few Arabic and some other more exotic Unicode features. Unicode is infinite size specification, essentially. You never reach the end of what Unicode would actually do, and there are almost or definitely no implementation of Unicode that currently supports every feature. So the Unicode support will support most of what everyone needs usually, but for instance, the main thing we still don't support is right to left text. And some big substitutions and big order that are dependent on specific languages for certain scripts, that kind of more exotic things, we still don't have them, and we will be working on them. So, let me wrap up this short presentation by quickly repeating the main points. This is an open source, open system focused on cloud quality and original values of the smalltaks project. It includes some advanced features not previously realized on any development environment. This additional goals of the project became running not long ago, and now the focus is on helping developers be more effective while building applications for the end users. Of course, without compromising the features that make easy. So that's all. Thank you. So Unicode.
When you say right to left support, it's right to left rendering or right to left handling, like doing reverse and some of those things.
Right to left rendering of text.
Good luck.
Well, I understand where that comment comes from. You work on that, and I know that it's a non-trivial problem, but the machinery for rendering text in quiz is very different from that of past. So the kind of problems that I will face will be different too. Essentially, in quiz, we have control of the code that does that. So I hope we can make it work well.
Well, in the case of fast, it's Scintilla that does only everything. So
yeah. So not here. Here the text layout of each line is done by a primitive, but that primitive can be made to fail in case of right to left text. So that makes it rather comfortable to start experimenting with a smaller version of right to left text in those cases without going down everything else. So it can be done in the interactive small system the way it's running, and that's perhaps helps a lot, I hope. No more questions? That's it. Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody. Buenas tardes a todos. Great to be here in Mar del Plata. I will try to give you a way. It's the very last one. So I hope you enjoy. It's a very interesting subject. As the title of the presentation stands for, I will talk about the implementation in library with it for quiz. This will be basically the presentation roadmap. Will be some context of what is the core, maybe you know. Then I will give some examples. It will be more example oriented, very clever colleague I suggested. That's great. Then I will talk about some future work, things we will do about implementation ways, the core. If enough time, I will share some design decisions, high-level implementation in terms of responsibilities and collaboration, and some conclusions. So what is core? Core is usually command line or scripts and for data was based on equal, what is the C library engine design behind core, cards, provision assets, routers, printers, other mobile phones, etc. And complex software applications in over 20 million installations. What is lead core? Of course, client-side library we can see on glasses. Is the engine, as I was commenting, behind full command line 2, okay? Full command line 2 is based on lead core. It is also the engine of thousands of tools, services, applications out there today performing their internet data transfers. Designed to be embedded in applications, okay, we want to call the API that is C library exposes. With developers who integrate data transfer capabilities into their programs. We don't need it to implement the network protocol themselves. So these networking capabilities will be provided by the API. So as I was saying, the concept, okay, they were created in 1998. Core is bit of equal equal is the command line tool, equal is the this pretty open source, very maintained, and there are thousands of contributors today, highly sponsored also. It is also known for following well-established open source best practices. So, some initial reasons for providing the core API interfacing with the core capabilities, as we mentioned, the use, core, materiality. And we want to have a small objects to take advantage of that functionality, of course. Here the core was designed to be used without forcing users to be protocol experts, allowing to set up and transfer with as many details and specific info as needed, then perform the transfer. The point is, networking and protocol areas are areas with lots of pitfalls and special cases, so the more we learn about these things, the more we'll be able to understand about the course options and ways of working and networking and products itself. So that knowledge, thinking about the evolution model, so that knowledge would eventually be an asset, this understanding, be an asset for modeling whatever transfer capability may be needed directly on quiz. So, anatomy, like this word, very equal transfer. So, here from the documentation, I will take two very trivial examples. These examples are given in the context of this C libraries, so they are in C. And we will look at these examples and then we will write them in quiz. Okay? This is the exercise we will do. So let's do that. So here are the examples. The first one will be just do a request, get a request. Okay. Sorry about the glasses. So this is the very initial C example in the documentation core. Okay.
Can you make that font a little larger?
Yeah.
That would be good.
No, for me to be honest. The point is, the problem is myself. Thank you. No. So,
but can you make it larger? For us.
Should be able to control the mouse.
Control.
Command plus.
Yes.
Command
plus. Here now is great.
A little bit more.
Thank you, John. Thank you. So maybe before just writing that in some minutes, we're talking here about core listing. Core listing is the basic object for doing immediate transfers, which is single thread, logging. And the life cycle is usually getting this core object, okay? They are the core listing in it. And then we do a set of options to that object. Finally, we do the perform the transfer. Finally, at the end, we release. This is mainly almost always the lifestyle we use for that. Okay, so let's see that, and let's write this in. This is too big for me now. So, first line here says, we need a core listing. So, based on our implementation, let's create the core listing. It's very simple. We will instantiate core listing. Okay. Then we need to set up some options. Okay. Main option is we're here in the HTTP. We set this core this option for, so we say for easy option for your two, when I have values for it. One I have here one for testing that works, that answers something. Use this for testing purposes. Okay? Then we can also tell our object we want to be in debug mode. This will particularly send to the standard output what is coming from that server. You can do this, then segment it, we do the perform, and then we will release the object. Okay, so here's the console, with this. Execute this, okay, complete, and here is we connected, okay, we get the data. It's what is it? The second example is you can do many things. One of these things is set callbacks, okay. So let's set the callback, which is the right callback. Let me show you, just share the implementation. Sorry, the documentation. This kind of callback activates whenever data comes. Okay, so we want to do something when you, as soon as you get data. So in order to implement this in queries, okay, which will be this, but Python pointer, etc., but at high level, we will tell the core lazy object, say red string, I will comment what is this. This involves a lot of things. This involves telling the libcore object we want to register their callback, okay? And also we are giving, I mean, from the C side will be a function, but in our case will be a block that will be executed, and in this time we will get the result of the request, okay? So let's execute that. I will put here a spec so that we can see the data. Okay. Okay. Let's run this. Run again, and this is the curly instance, okay? And here in the right string, we have the data, okay? All the data received from the side. This didn't work. Okay, these were very initial examples. Let's go back to the presentation. So, what we did is we took two examples written in C, and we wrote them in quiz. So, let's take that, and this was made by a colleague also. Let's take a real example, not just the example that comes in the implementation, in the documentation. Okay? There are many web services that exist on the internet and provide examples using curl, hence the curl, of course. And one of them is this openware map. Okay? And this provides an example using curl. Okay? So I will open command shell, execute the curl there, okay? So that it works. And then I will use this dash the curl option to generate with this. If we pass this option to the curl command, okay, we can generate the C code behind it. And then based on that C code, we can have, for instance, the same exercise we did before. We can have the quiz implementation for that. Okay? So let's do that. I'm using, let me show you guys, I'm using, this is the web service, this is the core example I'm using, generating an any key. I have it here prepared, not to waste time. This is the core command. Okay? If I execute that, it shows data regarding the weather, okay? In this case for Budapest. So if we run this with the option link for file.
You have to give it a file name.
Sorry. Yes. Yes, sorry. Yes. So, again, we can see. Okay. These are the underlying functions called, okay? So we will try to replicate that in quiz. It's a real example. Okay, so let's go back to quiz. I have it written, not to waste time here.
Can't you do dash leave quiz? That's
Soon.
Yes. So this is, you can see, guys, is the same, okay?
all easy.
I don't know, let me things, smart size, the euro, okay? In this case, we will use Mar del Plata, the city, all the options. Then we set the callback, and then we execute, transfer, okay? Let's see how it works. Here it is, the data from a regular location, so it works. Let's continue with the, so what did we do until now? We showed two initial examples in the documentation, then a real example regarding HTTP. Okay, there are many other protocols. Okay. Continue this way. As a future work, we would like to implement, there are many other things to do regarding the core. We would like to implement the MIME part of this, particularly used when we want to submit complex data, for instance, for submission. The multi allows to have different transfers in parallel. And the good thing of that is that Midcore makes easy for the client application. You don't have to manage this complexity of this multi
parallel threads of transfer. And another thing we would like to do is the share, which is a mechanism for sharing data or resources, yes, between multiple connections or handling. For instance, connection settings or cookies or whatever. Whatever, it could be whatever. I mean, you have certain data, you want to share this data among the different connections. We have some time? Yes. So, just quickly, I would like to share with you what we, some basic design decisions that are behind. No? Well, of course, as usual, we want to interact with outside, something outside of which we not wanting to hide the interface in the API access in the plugin. We don't want to make it opaque. We are faced with the need of implementing the interaction between pure object environment, as you all know, guys, in a space based on a different parameter, which is C. No? We want to separate the representation of the external library request from the dynamics of interacting with the external library. So we find the need of the following, no? Two main things. One, have an external library object, okay, where to provide and encapsulate library API functions, function calls, and API constants, definition, as well as to perform global library initialization. And also have a session-like object, which was, in our case, was the curl object. We wrote the example with. Have a session-like object manage the whole lifecycle: initialization, transfer, control, provide callback, registration, okay? Connection control, release resources, cleanup, whatever. Okay? So these are the main two objects. These are the options, the libcurl library and the curl list. So the libcurl library is to have a representation of the external library, which is a subclass of external library request, which bundles calls to functions from the same library, which in turn is a subclass of external object representing entities that are not part of this model universe. They are accessed using a unique handler. It is responsible for defining libcurl API calls and defining libcurl API constants and initialization, as we commented for this one. And the query object, the session-like object, responsible for handling all library session life cycle, managing blocking APIs, calls to library. As we commented, the having its main collaborator, and then setting the any options we might need, and then doing the perform and release the resources. Main collaborations. Instance of releasing encapsulates its main collaborator, it's a handle. It's handle. Handle is an empty integer representing an instance of external address. Instance of external address are handles to objects outside the small library. And also an instance of curl library collaborates with an instance of the library, what represents the library, the libcurl, which is we have run libcurl library. And the main collaborations is we have the curl easy instance as a libcurl library, a curl easy instance creation time for its handler. The entry point of communicating with, which is the entry point for communicating with the libcurl library that will be kept and used during more operations will perform your curl easy existence. Identified with a curl connection. This is the curl connection. Also, another collaboration as the library, the libcurl library for constants, if I need to set options to configure and prepare a transfer operation. And also delegate, of course, essential thing, delegate to a libcurl library instance any operation needed during session lifecycle, providing For that, all the collaborators will need to accomplish the link pool library code. Okay, when we set then I can show you all of some methods. It's essentially you have the pool library that needs to call, send a message to be resolved in the link pool library, providing all the parameters. So for the some architecture layers, from the perspective in terms of who is library package dependencies. So we have our package, the link code. It requires two packages, string pipes and FFI. In turn, FFI will require a link code. Just a short description of what each package does. Link code, as we commented, provides link code API function calls, okay, management for link code session lifecycle, callback registration. And FFI, which is foreign function interface, provides access to foreign functions in external libraries, providing they use the platform application binary diagram, which is essentially the C coding convention for the platform. FFI supports callbacks, allowing one to pass callbacks that involve small blocks when called from foreign code. String pipes, abstraction, provides behavior to alter string data before sending it along to a string to another pipe. Once a pipe is created, we'll provide it, break it to it as you would this polymorphic with the right string. No, the design does not have a mechanism to read from the pipe, rather it is to a push operation only. Pipes can be composed straight to enabling core, providing the infrastructure we need for FFI callbacks, implementing platform-related callback hierarchy based on the ABI, underlying ABI, and marshalling methods within a way to the callback is activated, how do we pass the parameters when it needs to be evaluated. So, some conclusions just to list what we have talked about. It's just that we want our small objects to take advantage of link pool, because of all the reasons we commented, but not hiding link pool interaction. We want to make it easier, so the function calls. We already have implemented quiz publishing, which was the object we used in the examples. Straightforward single-threaded for straightforward single-threaded transfers. As lists, there are lists. They are primarily used to pass the list of values to specific specific link pool functions, such as custom HTTP headers or recipients for operations. So, as we commented, the next one quiz we plan is to do the multi, the min support, and the share, to share among different functions. So, that will be all then. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for the talk. I think it's personally, I think it's a really good idea. I have two quick questions. The first one is, do you have a chance, because most of the times the most common protocol used is HTTP, obviously, but you already have, I imagine, an HTTP client quiz, I imagine. But so, yes. From my point of view, the advantage I see is using the rest of the protocol, because the pool has like first thing understand, so there's a lot of like FTP and MQTT, a lot of them. So the first question is if you got the chance to test other protocols as well, or if you need to add support for other protocols besides HTTP.
To test that in the core, I mean, it's already provided by the core. You don't need support. You use the core. I am not the default senior user, just took part in the implementation. But I think that, as a thought, that as you agree, that when we test more, we have more intense use of this very, I think we will learn also lots of these protocols you mentioned. We will have a lot of knowledge learned through using that. Maybe we can model some models outside the tool, in which directly we want this, with all the implications discussed, good implications. I think yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you would need to do something extra, if you would need to support LDAP, or if it should be already there.
No, everything is
should be there.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes. You just specify which protocol.
Exactly, the protocol.
Exactly.
Okay. Excellent. The other question is, besides callbacks in FFI, did you find any specifics, any complication with FFI, or besides callback, pretty much as straightforward?
No,
FFI
with the COM or the FFI standard FFI plus callback, I think we have all the infrastructure we need in order to interface to implement the lead core function calls. Yes. By now.
Can you explain what you use the strings bytes for? Because I didn't understand bytes.
Sure.
You just want to, it's not for passing data, but how?
Yes.
You're binding data. Right?
Absolutely. String pipes are for instance, let's look at this. One great thing is first is polymorphic with the right string, okay? And one great thing is that as long as you have some data in time, you go pushing that data. This is the thing. And besides that, you can abstract all of that, but it's mainly one thing is that. The second thing that I love about that is the composition. For instance, the multipipe is just must understand this in order to be in a core way polymorphic with right string. You can do these things. And we have, they are not all here, but there are more implementations about that. So it's
think of it as transforming, right? So you're pushing into a stream that transforms it and outputs something.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I was exactly. Is the author. And for instance, here, when you say to an autosave my file, it will save to a file. For instance, here. Here.
So it will save to a file and also string it forward.
In this case, in this case,
So you're writing to a log file. You want to keep saving so that if it crashes or something, then
it's a transformer.
yes. When you do the next, when you do the next code, So they have this specific behavior. When we do explore, it will write the file here. Okay? But besides transforming, I think a very cool thing is having the possibility of doing in time, as long as you have to push. So finish also this. This abstraction.
Yes, go to the sample code in the workspace.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I understand why, but I wanted to ask you anyway. So why did you keep the same protocol for the whole library, like set option value, instead of creating a message like no progress or progress or URL?
Cool. No, we could. Yes.
But okay, so but it's not something that you decided in purpose to keep it this way, or
no. We definitely can. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I agree. We can for any kind of for any set of related or equivalence class. I don't know, copy paste or all. You're right. Options related to a given protocol. Of course, we can have this. Yes.
The messages.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I agree. That's a good idea.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
No. Okay, now we're going dancing. We're going dancing to that. What's the name of the boliche? Donde vamos a ir a bailar. We're going dancing tango. See you tomorrow. You should go dancing. Don't we?